No one expected the NFL's top rookie brand to come from pick 144. But SHEDEUR Sanders isn't interested in expectations. While the league watched early picks grab headlines, he was selling over 375,000 jerseys before stepping onto the field. Then came Nike, then Brady, then EA Sports. And now, Gatorade, with Sanders rejecting a $60 million payout for 3% equity in the U.S. business. It's not just a smart deal. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. It's a statement. Draft position doesn't dictate power anymore. Market control does. What sets SHEDEUR apart is how thoroughly he's upended the old model. Prime equity gave him 100% control of his image rights, letting him bypass league gatekeepers and pocket all profits. When his Nike clause activated post-preseason, the deal jumped to $250 million. His revenue from jersey sales is unmatched in NFL history. Add in tech and telecom ventures, and he's already running a business empire, all before his rookie year even begins. In this new era, athletes don't follow the system. They build their own. So, let's talk about what just happened. SHEDEUR Sanders didn't make waves with a game-winning throw or a viral highlight reel. He flipped the NFL business model on its head before stepping onto the field as a regular season player. While most rookies are signing the dotted line and taking what handed to them, SHEDEUR turned down a $60 million guaranteed endorsement deal from Gatorade. That's not a typo. $60 million. Gone. Why? Because he asked for something bigger. Instead of fast cash, he negotiated for 3% equity in Gatorade USA. Ownership, a stake in one of the most dominant beverage brands on the planet. A brand that's already embedded in sports culture, from locker rooms to Olympic podiums to billion-dollar advertising campaigns. That 3% is a long game move, and SHEDEUR knew exactly what he was doing. This wasn't some fluke negotiation. This was part of a clear strategy, one crafted under the concept of prime equity, a business model developed by his father, Deion Sanders. And this model doesn't just change the rules of the game. It bypasses them. Through prime equity, SHEDEUR retains full control of his image rights. No agents cutting slices. No teams dictating how his likeness gets used. Every brand deal, independent. Every profit, 100% his. That is not how the system typically works, especially not for a fifth-round pick. SHEDEUR was selected 144th overall. Most players in that slot are lucky to stick around through training camp, let alone secure historic business deals. But the thing is, SHEDEUR wasn't waiting on a draft number to validate him. Before he ever stepped on an NFL field, he had already built himself into a commercial powerhouse. The Nike deal said it all. A $125 million contract signed before the season even began. But that was just the starting point. There was a performance clause written in, activated the second he played in his first preseason appearance. The result? The deal instantly doubled. Just like that. It became a $250 million partnership. Again, he hadn't even played a regular season game. Most players get clauses based on postseason honors or Pro Bowl votes. SHEDEUR had one tied to visibility. It rewarded presence. Because presence in today's game is profit. But it didn't stop with Nike. His jersey sales exploded. Over 375,000 units sold before the regular season even kicked off. He wasn't just a top-selling rookie. He was outselling players drafted in the top 10. Draft status? Irrelevant. Fans were already buying in. And here's where it gets unreal. Every jersey sold, he collects half. 50% of profits. That kind of profit sharing doesn't exist in the NFL. Not for rookies. Not for veterans. That's not a benefit. They don't even offer it. But SHEDEUR got it. Because again, this isn't a player operating within the system. This is someone rebuilding it in real time. And it's not just sportswear. His brand is everywhere. He launched his own barbecue sauce line. That's not a vanity item. It's an actual product in stores, part of a broader consumer goods strategy. He's partnered with EA Sports. He's an ambassador for AT&T. And the deal with Brady? $75 million annually, every year. That kind of partnership usually goes to legacy athletes, not rookies still working on a debut season. But that's what makes this all so wild. He's not following the typical timeline. He's not waiting to prove himself in year 3 to get the big deals. He walked in with them already signed, and they're structured to scale. The Nike clause reward performance. The equity in Gatorade pays out over time as the brand grows. The jersey deal capitalizes on marketability, and all of it is structured to build long-term, sustainable wealth, because SHEDEUR knows what so many others don't want to admit. Football doesn't last forever. Most athletes play for a few years, maybe less, and spend the rest of their lives trying to figure out what's next. SHEDEUR built what's next before his first NFL paycheck cleared, and every deal proves it. He's not chasing endorsements. He's building an empire, and analysts are taking notice. Based on current projections, with his income streams, equity holdings, and growth potential, SHEDEUR could become the youngest billionaire in NFL history while he's still playing. This isn't just a feel-good story about a smart rookie. This is a direct challenge to the way the league and sports business as a whole has operated for decades. Athletes have always been the face of billion-dollar brands, but they've rarely owned a piece of them. They endorse, they promote, and then they get replaced. SHEDEUR broke that cycle. He didn't ask to be the face of Gatorade. He owns a piece of Gatorade, and it's forcing the entire ecosystem to rethink itself. Because if a fifth-round pick can pull this off, what's stopping a future number 1 overall pick from demanding even more? If SHEDEUR can get 50% of jersey profits, what happens when other rookies start negotiating similar cuts? If one player can turn down $60 million for equity and make it work, why should anyone settle for a flat-fee endorsement ever again? This isn't just about one player. This is about a movement, and it's not hypothetical. It's happening. SHEDEUR Sanders walked into the NFL as both an elite athlete and a business executive, and he didn't hide that. He didn't tone it down. He didn't play small to make people comfortable. He brought full transparency to the table and showed everyone how it's done. And sure, critics will still say, but what if he doesn't perform on the field? That question completely misses the point. This entire play wasn't based on field stats. It was based on market value, on visibility, on brand strength, on building income models that work with or without touchdowns. That's the genius of it. He doesn't need a Super Bowl ring to make his business model thrive. That said, if he does perform, if the stats line up and the team wins, then this empire only grows faster. And maybe that's what really makes this so powerful. SHEDEUR isn't choosing between football and business. He's proving you can do both at once, at the highest level. He's not a cautionary tale. He's a case study. So, yeah, this deal with Gatorade was bold. Risky? Maybe. But the kind of risk you take when you know your worth. When you know what equity really means. When you understand that the real win isn't just cashing the check, it's owning the company writing it. So what's your take? Should more athletes be walking into the league with this kind of blueprint? Is SHEDEUR showing the future, or is he just a one-on-one? Drop a comment. Share this with someone still stuck on that 144th draft pick. Hit the like button if you respect the move, and make sure you're subscribed. There's a lot more to unpack, and you know we'll be right here when the next bombshell drops. All right, so where were we? Oh, yeah. SHEDEUR Sanders just turned down $60 million in cash to take ownership of a legacy brand. Let that marinate. This isn't a subplot in his career. It is the career. It's the main story. Because while most rookies are just figuring out how to adjust to the speed of the league, SHEDEUR is negotiating with billion-dollar corporations like he's been in the boardroom for years. And in a way, he has. This whole prime equity playbook wasn't something he pulled out of thin air. It's the result of a lifetime spent watching Deion Sanders not just dominate in sports, but master branding. Deion didn't just play football. He built a persona, a legacy. And now, SHEDEUR's taking that legacy and turning it into a fully monetized machine. The difference? He's not renting his name to these companies. He's owning the product. He's moving like an investor, not a client. That's a major difference in mindset. And honestly, that's where the sports world has been behind. For too long, the business side of pro sports has treated athletes like talent, not partners. But that model breaks when a rookie like SHEDEUR walks in and says, "I'm not here for a check, I'm here for equity." And not just equity as a buzzword, equity with terms, with legal backing, with long-term return. GATORADE is one of the most recognizable names in all of sports. It's not some niche startup looking for attention. It's already everywhere. So even 3% on paper doesn't sound huge until you realize the scale. This is a brand that dominates shelves, endorsements, lead deals, international expansion. You name it. That 3% could be worth far more than the $60 million offer he turned down. And because it's equity, that value doesn't cap out. It grows. Meanwhile, the $60 million, once it's spent, it's gone. That's what SHEDEUR saw. And that's what makes this play so genius. Because here's the thing. The NFL isn't built to reward this kind of thinking. Players are conditioned to maximize what they can get right now. Short careers, high risk, immediate cash. That's the norm. But SHEDEUR's flipping that on its head. He's not chasing a paycheck. He's building an empire that pays him long after the game is over. He's not planning for year 3. He's planning for year 30. And what's wild is how casually he's doing it. There's no drawn-out media campaign. No overhyped announcement tour. He just lets the numbers speak. Nike, $125 million deal, instantly doubled to $250 million after one preseason appearance. Jerseys, over 375,000 sold before week 1, with a 50% cut of profits. Brady, $75 million every year in partnership value. EA Sports, AT&T, and more strategic partnerships, not vanity deals. And then there's the sauce. Yeah, he launched a barbecue sauce brand. Not a gimmick, a real product. It's part of a larger plan to diversify income streams. He's building a portfolio that covers apparel, food, tech, media, and sports licensing. This isn't just hustle. This is corporate strategy. And SHEDEUR? He's running it all while still learning the playbook of a professional football team. That dual focus is rare. You don't often see someone this young, this early in his career, balance the chaos of professional sports with the discipline of serious business expansion. But that's what's happening here. And here's the part that needs to be said. SHEDEUR didn't come from nowhere. The name Sanders already had weight. He had access, exposure, opportunity. And he used all of that not just to get into the room, but to change what the room looks like. Because now, every athlete watching this is taking notes. SHEDEUR's playbook is about more than dollars. It's about structure. The contracts are airtight. The clauses are player first. The partnerships are built on mutual value, not blind endorsements. This is what agency looks like in 2026. And while some people in the league might roll their eyes, saying he hasn't done anything yet, the truth is, he's already done more than most athletes do over the span of an entire career. He's secured ownership. He's changed the economics of jersey sales. He's rewritten what it means to be a marketable rookie. He's proven that draft position does not determine business value. And that last point, that's a big one. For years, athletes were told, your worth is tied to where you get drafted. Top 10 picks get the money, the deals, the exposure. But SHEDEUR, selected 144th overall, absolutely torched that narrative. He outsold everyone. He outnegotiated everyone. And now, he's out-earning most of them, too. All because he understood one thing. The game starts the moment you control your brand. He didn't wait for the league to tell him his worth. He said it, and he made sure every contract reflected it. And it's working. Analysts are now seriously projecting that SHEDEUR Sanders could become the youngest billionaire in NFL history while still active. Not a retired legend. Not a Hall of Famer looking for business deals after the fact. A current player actively stacking equity, revenue, and brand power while on the field. That has never happened before. So what we're looking at here isn't just an anomaly. It's a potential blueprint, a shift, a new standard. And the real question becomes, who's going to follow it? Because this only works if athletes realize that value isn't something you wait for. It's something you own. SHEDEUR owned it early. Now he's owning everything else. 2. So let's bring it home. SHEDEUR Sanders turned down $60 million for ownership. He structured a business portfolio that spans multiple industries. He flipped the rookie narrative on its head, crushed jersey sales, doubled a Nike deal overnight, and built a brand so powerful that Gatorade gave him equity instead of a check. And he hasn't even played a full season yet. So where does this go next? That's the part nobody knows. But one thing is for sure, he's not done. Not even close. Let's be real. By this point, if you're still trying to reduce SHEDEUR Sanders to just a fifth-round pick, you're either not paying attention or you're choosing to ignore what's right in front of you. Because SHEDEUR didn't just walk into the NFL with a business plan. He walked in with leverage. Real leverage. The kind that doesn't just get you better deals. It forces the system to evolve. And that's exactly what's happening. This Gatorade move? It wasn't just a flex. It was a fracture point. An actual disruption in how athlete endorsement deals are structured. For decades, the model has been simple. Athlete lends their image. Brand gets visibility. Athlete gets paid. Once. A flat number, maybe bonuses if sales spike. Then it's over. The company keeps growing. The athlete? Back to training. But when SHEDEUR turned down $60 million guaranteed for a 3% ownership stake, he made it clear. He doesn't just want to be used by a brand. He wants to build with it. And it's not just about ego or optics. It's about wealth. Real compounding generational wealth. Because now, every time Gatorade expands or market share, drops a new flavor, or inks a distribution deal, SHEDEUR sees that growth in his own equity, not in a paycheck, not in a one-time signing bonus, in shares, in ownership. That's the move. And let's talk about that number for a second, 3%. You hear that, and it might not sound like much, but 3% of a company like Gatorade USA, that's enormous. This is a brand tied into every major sport, every training facility, every ad break during the playoffs. Their revenue isn't seasonal. It's constant. Billions a year. Do the math. That 3% is worth far more than $60 million over 3 years. And it'll keep growing, whether SHEDEUR throws for 400 yards in a game or not. That's the power of betting on the brand instead of the moment. And you know what really makes this deal untouchable? He keeps 100% of the profits from that partnership. No agency cut. No league licensing interference. That's prime equity at work. And yeah, that's the system he built with his dad, Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Primetime. One of the only people in sports history who understood how to make a persona profitable. Now, SHEDEUR's refined that, taken what Deion started and turned it into a scalable system for wealth, brand control, and total autonomy. Because here's the reality. Image rights are where the battle is. And SHEDEUR didn't just win that battle. He made sure no one else even had a claim to the field. Every image, every likeness, every campaign with his face on it, he owns that. Not the team. Not the league. Him. And that's where most athletes lose out. They sign away their identity before they've even unpacked their locker. But not SHEDEUR. From day one, he locked it all down. And it's already paying off. Let's not forget the Nike deal. That alone set the tone. $125 million before he took a single regular season snap. That was already record-breaking. But the brilliance of it came in the fine print. Because it wasn't just about the base deal. It included a performance clause that doubled it to $250 million the second he played in a preseason game. That's a clause designed by someone who understands value. Not just value on the field, but market value. Because a preseason game doesn't matter to the standings, but it does matter to brand exposure. The second SHEDEUR hit that field in uniform, the cameras were on. The jerseys were selling. And Nike was locked in for double. That's next-level strategy. And speaking of jerseys, let's just say the numbers speak for themselves. Over 375,000 sold before the regular season even started. No one else came close. Not even the first-round guys. Not even the media darlings. And here's where it gets wild. SHEDEUR has a 50% cut of those sales. Half. No one else in the league has that. Not Mahomes. Not Burrow. Not anyone. That's not just unprecedented. It's damn near untouchable. And it shows, again, how far ahead he is in this game. Because jersey sales are usually a revenue stream dominated by teams, leagues, and retailers. Players might get a small royalty, maybe, but 50%? That's game-breaking. And it didn't stop there. The Brady deal. $75 million a year. That's not some influencer contract or glorified ambassador role. That's a high-value partnership between two entities building something bigger. That's legacy planning. And on top of that, AT&T EA Sports, his own sauce brand. All of it carefully picked, carefully timed, and structured for long-term growth. This is not some chaotic money grab. This is a diversified brand portfolio, and it's only expanding. The thing that keeps standing out about SHEDEUR's empire is how early he put it all together. Most players take years to start building off-field revenue. Usually, it happens after a few standout seasons or once they've made their mark in the league. But SHEDEUR, he started before the league even called his name. That's not typical. That's revolutionary. And it proves the point that's making people uncomfortable. The league doesn't determine your worth. You do. SHEDEUR didn't wait for his team to market him. He came in already marketed. He didn't wait for success to find him. He built it. And now that blueprint is in the spotlight. Because the question everyone's asking behind the scenes is this. What happens when other rookies try to follow this model? What happens when players stop accepting the rookie deal as gospel and start negotiating like owners? What happens when image rights become non-negotiable? When performance clauses aren't just about all-pro awards, but also about appearance metrics and brand lift? What happens is a total reworking of power dynamics in professional sports. And SHEDEUR, he lit the match. He made it okay for athletes to say no to cash if it means long-term equity. He made it possible for a fifth-round pick to walk into a room with billion-dollar leverage. He made it normal to expect full ownership over your brand. And while some in the industry are still catching their breath, the new generation is already paying attention. This isn't just about one player anymore. This is the start of a shift. Because this isn't just what success looks like. It's what control looks like. So yeah, critics can keep doubting. They can keep questioning whether SHEDEUR deserves these deals. But the deals are signed. The contracts are real. The revenue's already rolling in. That part's not up for debate. The only thing left to watch? How far this model spreads. How many more athletes follow it. And how long it'll take before the system either adapts or breaks trying to keep up. So let's wrap this up. SHEDEUR Sanders turned down $60 million in short-term money, built an empire of equity, secured a deal that makes him part owner in one of the biggest sports brands in history, crushed rookie jersey sales with a 50% profit margin, doubled a Nike deal before Week 1, and set the stage to become the youngest billionaire in NFL history while still playing. If that's not going off on the NFL world, then what is? Here's the kicker. This isn't even his peak. SHEDEUR Sanders is just getting started. No rings. No Rookie of the Year. No highlight reel stamped into NFL history yet. And still, he's already got more financial freedom and brand power than some 10-year veterans. He's not hoping to catch up to the league's marketing machine. He is the machine, a walking business model, a one-man enterprise. And what that really does, it exposes a gap. The gap between athletes who are told to focus on the game and athletes who understand that they are the game. SHEDEUR isn't breaking the rules. He's playing an entirely different game on a parallel field. He didn't let a fifth-round draft slot box him in. He didn't wait for endorsements to find him. He walked into the league fully packaged, fully valued, and fully leveraged. And the NFL world had no choice but to sit up and pay attention. It's wild because, for years, the conversation around athletes and wealth has always focused on the aftermath. What to do after the career ends. How to transition into business. SHEDEUR erased that timeline. There's no transition. It's simultaneous. It's seamless. And that's the blueprint he's dropping for the next generation. You don't wait. You don't hope. You own from day one. So when people say, let's see what he does on the field. Sure, let's. But don't ignore what he's already done off it. Because the scoreboard in the business world, he's already up by 40. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this the smartest rookie rollout in sports history? Or is it just the start of something even bigger?
Smash that like button if you're here for athletes changing the game, and subscribe to stay locked in. We're not done following the money, and SHEDEUR's not done making it.